my talk. Here we go. He said he living life as a gringo, where you question where you fit in every time you mingle. They say you do this with not enough that. My rapping is really bad. This life as a gringo.
Yes, hello and welcome to another episode of Life as a Gringo. I am Dramos, of course, and not just any episode, the first episode of 2025. Welcome back. I'm here. We're here together. We are ready to take on another year, hopefully. Oh, man, I have to say, listen, it's nice to be back. It is nice to just get out here and just be yapping. But man, these breaks, they never last long enough, do they? It was nice to just kind of like, I was still working. I'd be bullshitting myself like, oh, we're gonna take some time off and relax, you know. But really, I was still working. The beautiful thing was I wasn't really setting an alarm in the morning, so I was just waking up whenever I felt like it. Letting myself, if I felt like staying up a little later than usual, you know, being bold and dangerous like that. Really, which means like staying up till 11 instead of 10 these days. And yeah, it was nice to like not. I think for me, like I said, I didn't take completely off, but I was like far more intentional with how I was spending my time. So like I wasn't as connected. I wasn't feeling the need to like do content for social media. You know, outside of just like stories and stuff like that for fun. I was not like checking my work email. Yeah, I was just like on my own schedule, like whatever was like whatever burning desire I had in my heart to work on, I did, which pretty much was just music, which is amazing because I walked away now after this break with like 2 original tracks that I'm really excited about that I'm gonna be finishing up in the next couple weeks. So that's exciting stuff. That'll be the first time I've produced anything in, I don't even know, 2021. Dude, it's like 3 years, which is fucking insane. Considering that was just like so much of my focus back in the day. But yeah, wild and really excited. I feel like I've found myself a bit within that, and like I just felt like a kid when I was doing it. So, you know, working, but like fun work. I was just like in my studio for 6 to 8 hours, just on my computer playing the same exact song over and over again and tweaking little things, and that was just fun to me. I was losing my mind. But yeah, now we're kind of back in the swing of things, a little more responsibilities. My schedule's a little bit more packed. I have to be far more intentional with like carving out time for music and things like that. But all blessings nonetheless. I hope you had an amazing holiday season. Yeah, I actually haven't seen anybody since, or been on the podcast since what, Christmas? So yeah, some nice time with the family, you know, and we're back at it, man. I hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, I'm trying to shake the rust off a little bit here. What are we talking about in today's show? Let's talk about intention, right? Like this is, and I don't want to like, I hate putting this idea of like pressure on like, it's the new year, we gotta fucking go. Because I don't know about y'all, but like, I was like, oh, I'm fucking excited to get back to work, you know, and first week of the year, and then like, I just wasn't super into it. I was like, oh shit, this is what it feels like to be back on that grind again. So, and I was like, I felt myself like being weighed down by like, oh no, I lost that fire for 2025, that excitement. And it's like, nah, it's just like, listen, you got to take a little bit of time to get back into the swing of things and get back into like a routine with it all. Especially when you broke it and like we're just living in like this fucking weird in between space where you kind of were doing things but weren't really, you know. So yeah, if you're not like overly fired up right now, don't feel bad. You know, I know somebody like David Goggins or like one of these red pill motivational bros would be like, you know, fucking losing their mind right now if you were to say that. But you know, here on the human side of things, and I'm not taking a shot at them. I listen to some of their stuff sometimes when you little pick me up, but you know, on the human side of things, you got to just, you know, kind of roll into it as best you can here. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to just kind of get my mental together and get back into like the routine of grinding it out every day. And and being super focused and disciplined really more than anything. So with that said, a practice that I've been doing over the last maybe 2 or 3 years, I usually will select like 2 or 3 words that I think encapsulate my vision for the new year. And I find this to be a bit better than like a New Year's resolution, because I think with a New Year's resolution, which I whatever, that works for you, cool. But for me, it never worked. I think more than anything, right? This like statement to live by. I think more than anything for me, if I can select some words and sort of allow them to be the guiding methodology for my year, that's a little bit more tangible for me, as far as like staying in line with it. It's easier for me than like this intention of like gonna lose 30 pounds, or especially when I always have goals in general, right? And especially I don't work within like one goal. I'm working within, I have like an overarching vision, but like 3, 6 month and a year goal right now is what I'm working on. So for me, it's been far better to kind of just set a couple words that I can quickly kind of go back to and keep in the back of my head throughout the course of the year, as life begins to life, and life be life, and sometimes it starts throwing bullshit at you. It's easier for me to have a couple words to kind of like meditate on in the moment, rather than like reading some sort of asinine goal that seems so far away. So we're gonna talk about that, and just I think the power of setting intentions. I have this article from Calm, the Calm app, that I thought was really powerful. And then I'll kind of talk about what my words are for the year as well. I like this because it's also not incredibly specific to just me, right? Like I feel like I can share this with somebody, and um hopefully it can like ignite something in them as well. Feel free to steal my words if need be, but I feel like it's something that I can like sort of I don't know. I'm trying to think of like I feel like I can exude these words, this mentality that these words are providing me with, and like pass them on to the people that I interact with to a degree, far easier. And I think that is yeah, that's why I like the word thing. I probably just over explain this more than is necessary, but yeah, you get it. You're smart. But this is actually something. This was a practice we started. I started implementing personally, but then when we started doing the Just Be Social Club, I think this would be like the first thing that I would do with people. At least the first one that we did, because we did start it in January, a couple years ago. So it was a great time to kind of be like, hey, like this is how we're going to start. We're going to just sort of set these intentions and then allow that to be the umbrella for everything we do this year. And I know a lot of people within that found it to be super helpful. So I wanted to kind of continue on with that. But yeah, let's just talk about intention a little bit, and why it's just so incredibly important. I always talk about like a North Star, and I think things like this are really good for that. And again, I think the words, if they feel less cumbersome than like being this very specific fucking thing, I'm going to lose 30 pounds, I'm going to do this, do that, right? To me, that can feel a bit like heavy, and it's easy to fall off because you can be like, all right, I have a fitness goal. I want to lose 20 pounds or whatever it might be. And then I'm going to do that by going to the gym every single day. And then it's like, oh, I missed gym the first one of the a day the first week of the year. And then it's easy to fall off track, where I think if a better way to do that would have been, I'm going to be far more disciplined this year. And then with that, you can say, what is discipline? Discipline is, okay, I know I need to lose some weight, or I want to get more fit, or whatever. That means eating better. That means going to the gym. And when you inevitably, because we all will fall off the wagon at some point in some way, shape, or form, you can go back to that word discipline, because a disciplined person, when they fall off the wagon, doesn't use it as an excuse to just fucking spiral out of control. A disciplined person will pick themselves up and get back on track the next chance they get. And that's why the words are so powerful for me personally. Anywho, let's talk about this article from Calm. We'll do it in a segment we call For the People in the Back.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
All right, so this is like, there's a bunch of really good information in here, especially specifics on how to set intentions and practices. Like they talk about meditation and things of that nature. I'll include the link to this in the show notes if you want to read the entire thing. It is helpful. I'm not going to dive into that because I'm not going to read the entire article and be here for 30 minutes reading an article. But article is called "The Power of Setting Intentions and How to Set Mindful Ones." And they talk about how setting intentions is more than just a self-help trend. It's a transformative practice that influences how we navigate our daily lives. It's about cultivating a mindset that guides our actions, emotions, and thoughts towards a desired way of being. Unlike goals, which are often specific and target-driven, intentions are rooted in our deepest desires and values, shaping the quality of our experiences rather than just the outcomes. Through intention setting, we can identify what truly matters to us and make that the center of our daily actions and decisions. I love that. I'm going to pause on that because I think it piggybacks off of what I was talking about, right? The idea of like, I used weight loss. I know it's a popular goal for people, and choosing the word discipline over setting a specific weight loss goal. Because really, when you think about what are you trying to do when you're losing weight, for example, you are, yes, trying to get physically healthier. You want to feel better about yourself. Aesthetically, you want to look in the mirror and be proud of what you see. You want to, live a longer life, right? All these amazing things. But what you're really trying to do, or the bigger goal, right? Or the more effective one that will give you the long-term desired results, it's more than just losing the weight, right? Because so many of us have gotten into the best shape of our lives only to, spiral and put the weight back on or lose all the gains that we had, right? I mean, listen, I'm thinking about when I was in August, not for nothing, humble brag to myself. I was in really good shape, like best shape I've been in a while. I wouldn't say great shape, but for somebody who really hates working out, I was pretty consistent. I was eating right. And I was walking around tank tops all day, every day. And that's the first time in my life I felt confident in myself to do so. Right now, it ain't tank top season for me. Even if the weather allowed it, I can't. I'm not in tank top shape right now. Right? I'm not feeling great about that. But what the larger sort of thing with that is, yeah, I want to look good in a tank top. You know what I'm saying? Have these chiseled arms just fucking hanging out, like it's nobody's business. Have a chest that I'm poofing out there. But more than anything, I want to be the type of person that has the self-control to make decisions that are best for them in both the short and long term, right? And more so the long term. So that's why when we talk about intention, it's saying, okay, for people, the thing that really makes you keep off the weight, stay on the health regimen, is adapting a lifestyle where you become disciplined and your intention is to be a person who makes better decisions. That's what keeps off the weight, because then future moving forward, it's not just about taking off 20 pounds. It's about being somebody who is not going to give into the temptation of eating extra, eating the fucking donuts, and not give into the temptation of not, moving your body and working out. Right? You're somebody who's saying, I want to be a disciplined human being that makes the best practicing decisions for myself in the future. And that's why, to me, intention is more powerful than these goals. And I think goals are great. I like I said, I have my 3-month, my 6-month, my 1 year right now goals. But I think the intention is far bigger as far as who do I want to be as a human being? Right? These goals are incredible and they're going to be, beautiful moments for me to experience. But the bigger picture is the intention of becoming a better person in all facets of my life, right? And that these goals are just a sort of means to become better, right? Again, the fitness goal allows you to begin to develop discipline. Discipline will then have an amazing effect on every single aspect of your life, right? Outside of what you eat, the way you carry yourself, the way that you stay true to your word, be it a promise you made to your spouse, a promise you made to yourself, right? All of that bleeds into you becoming a person you could truly be proud of, right? Bigger than just that one goal. And that sort of intention you set and who you become allows you to become and achieve more than just those short-term goals that you had set for yourself, right? And that's why I'm obsessed with the idea of intention over goals. I think a goal, and I don't mean don't have goals. I think you understand that the intention is kind of like this bigger vision for yourself as a human being in the long term. And then recognizing these goals are just the steps that help you to continue to get there. But you have to have that bigger vision of who you want to be first and foremost, and sort of allow that to be the thing that you're really like, working on each and every day and reminding yourself of, right? Now, just kind of skipping around in this article here, they say, what does intention setting mean? Intention setting is a conscious and deliberate act where you identify and articulate what's genuinely important to you. Intentions are about your inner journey and how you want to experience life. For instance, setting an intention to be more present in your daily interactions isn't about achieving a specific outcome, but rather about cultivating a mindset of mindfulness and deeper engagement. And a lot of things are kind of coming to my head as examples, um, particularly when we talk about, because I'm reading this and I'm like, what a privilege it is that this is the shit that I'm conscious and thinking about right now. And I think about my parents and their upbringing and how this, I might as well be speaking, Mandarin to them right now if I was to bring this up. But I think about, and I've talked about my relation with my parents, and I think it's a great example. I have this intention of having a healthier relationship with my parents, having healthier communication. And I fall short so many times. There are times where I just lose it and I get pissed at them just like anybody else does, or I get frustrated. But in my mind, I'm doing the little things that I can and, fairly successfully doing the little things that I can to ensure that we have a healthy relationship, right? When I talk about humanizing them and recognizing their traumas and all that they're going through, again, stepping into conversations with the knowledge in my mind, the presence in my mind to say, this is a difficult conversation, but I want to maintain a healthy communication with my parents, right? And then I look at, my dad, for example, whom I love, but he's very bullish as far as his emotions and his inability to control them and an inability to not get worked up at times. He's very much just like in the moment, not thinking about the greater point of the conversation or the interaction, but just what he's feeling and reacting very much so in the moment. Very reactive, right? And that is so much of why, like, a lot of our parents, myself included, or a lot of us, we grew up in these explosive lifestyles or explosive households in different ways because our parents didn't sort of have that filter of intention. They were just very reactive, right? They're reacting off of trauma, off of their own raw emotions. They, didn't do the self-work or didn't have the opportunity to or the resources, or it wasn't common knowledge how it is in today's day and age. And because of that, they have the inability to sort of have this filter that allows them to slow down in the moment and try and process things in a way that helps them put their best foot forward. And again, nobody's perfect at it. But my batting average in not losing my shit with my parents is far higher than it used to be because I've begun to learn about intention and developed a presence of mind because of these intentions that I've set, right? The intention of wanting to have a healthier relationship with my parents now gave me a bit more of a presence of mind that in those moments where I'm being triggered and I'm, feeling anger or hurt or pain or whatever it might be, that intention is there in my mind and allows me to sort of slow down and process what I want to get out of this situation rather than just being reactive. And I think that that's why, again, when we talk about these words and having intention for your year, it allows you to sort of have a bit of a filter that like allows you to just sort of slow down life just a little bit, where you're not so reactive. You're not, just jumping at what's happening in the moment, but you're allowing yourself to look at your reaction through the lens, or your potential reaction through the lens of how it does this align with what I want my year and my future self to look like. And that's why having that intention is so important. I really feel like it just sort of slows things down, right? It's kind of like, you know, um imagine the ability in life where to like have life play in slow motion just for a second, right? That's sort of what you're doing when you have an intention and you keep it in your head, because it develops that presence of mind. Presence of mind allows you to sort of hit the slow mo button when a situation is happening, right? Because things are happening so fast, and if you're not able to be processing in that way, if you haven't worked out that muscle, again, it's just reactive, and reactive moments and just quick reactions are not generally going to produce the best desired results for you. So I think this intention and this presence of mind, why it's so powerful, because it's like being able to hit a slow mo button as something is happening, where you can really take in all that's going on and react in accordance with a greater vision that you have for yourself and life in general. And that's why it's so important. Um, and I'm just gonna read. They gave you 12 examples. I'll end this article here. I'll go through quickly. 12 examples of mindful intentions that you could set. 1, I express my thoughts and feelings with honesty. 2, I make a conscious effort to recognize and meet my physical and emotional and mental needs. 3, I prioritize building and maintaining meaningful relationships. 4, I place trust in my intuition and my emotions. I choose to move joyfully through the world. That's a good one. I accept my full range of emotions without judgment. That's another good one. I embrace uplifting opportunities. I actively seek and create moments that bring joy to my life. I acknowledge and appreciate the good in my life, both big and small. I seek personal growth through all my experiences. I am fully present in each moment. I explore my creative side without judgment. So these are all examples of intentions you could set for the year. Obviously, I talk about doing it in words. It's whatever works for you. Like you don't have to follow. I'm trying to, what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to convey is sparking an idea in your head and then having you personally adapt it to whatever works for you personally. It's not one size fits all. So for me, I rather have words than like a sentence, but this is, I think, amazing as well. There's certain things I feel like I'm going to pull from it. Whatever works for you. If you want to have a sentence that you feel like is your intention for the year, or you want to have a couple words like I do, whatever works for you. I think either way, it's just cultivating that presence of mind. And that's the thing. I think presence of mind is a muscle. And in order to work that muscle out, you have to do things that allow you to kind of slow down, and setting an intention and then reminding yourself every day of that intention, meditating on it, journaling on it, looking yourself in the mirror. Like, that's why affirmations and things like that are so important. And that's why they work for so many people. And I think that's what you have to understand, because it sounds silly, like talk to yourself in the mirror or whatever. But what you're doing is working out that muscle that gives you presence of mind, right? Because positive affirmation, like if you're saying, okay, I am beautiful. It feels silly to be saying that to yourself in the mirror. But again, you are working out that muscle in your mind to create a presence of mind. So when you have a moment where somebody says something nasty to you, because the internet is a fucking weird place, or you have a negative thought about yourself and you're gonna critique yourself in a negative way, that presence of mind you're creating by that intention through affirmation allows you to combat it with, no, I am beautiful, right? Or you have this thought, this mindset in your head, this idea in your head that erases or fights back against whatever negative moment you're going through in the present moment, right? And that's what we're trying to do, is just create like this armor around ourselves that pushes back, like this imaginary force field that pushes back against those sort of negative thoughts, or negative moments that may pop up throughout the course of our day, our week, our life, So that's what it's about. So I want to kind of talk about now what my words are for the year, and it's just as a means, I guess, of inspiring you on what you could be thinking about your intention is for 2025. But first, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
Mi gente.
All right, so I was just reflecting on so much as I was thinking about these words. I wanted to be really intentional about it, like more intentional than maybe I've been in the past. Um, and I think when I say intentional, and when I talk about more intentional than I've been in the past, I think I think um I think in terms of not trying to be so in control of things. And I'm actually looking at these words. There's another one just came to my mind. I'm doing four words. But I think in the past when I've thought about these things, I've had a particular sort of idea in mind, and I've sort of used these words as a vehicle to force them to happen, or a vehicle to reinforce what I hoped would happen. And I think what I'm giving myself now with these four words is tools to survive the inevitable up and downs of this year. And I'm not even saying that in a pessimistic way of like 2025 is going to be a rough year. I think 2025 is going to be an amazing year. I have the utmost belief in that. But even the best of times have their low moments, have their disappointments, have their heartbreaks. And I want to be somebody who's mentally ready for all of that. And I think especially after a challenging 2024, I don't think that I sort of gave myself, or I don't think I mentally understood what I really needed in order to just go through all those moments, right? I think because of those moments, I can build the calluses a little bit more, and not in a bad way, but the ability to sort of push through those moments, and maybe recognize what I need, right? And I know I'm kind of talking in circles. I'm kind of processing right now. There's a lot coming up for me as I talk about this, but um, I think I think not relying on the moment or the goal or the vision that I have to be the thing that tells me if I'm okay or not. Right? I think that's like external, I guess, validation to a degree, but I think it goes beyond that. I think I think like the next level of my journey, of my growth, of what I'm striving for is to be somebody who is okay through all the madness. Who is sort of not like, because I think, 2024 was like I had all these sort of seeds planted, and I was like, I'm waiting for that moment. I know I'm going to get that, that call, that email, that opportunity. I'm going to create that thing that then allows us to ascend and do the next thing or whatever it might be. And sort of having a bunch of different disappointments and letdowns, and really feeling them and feeling as if my life is derailed because of them. I think now I'm reflecting and saying, like, those moments were heartbreaking, disappointing, and all of the above, every sort of adjective you could think of. But they didn't need to be moments that derailed my life. They didn't need to be moments that made me question everything and question myself to the point that I sort of froze in place. And I think that is what I'm trying to get to, right? And I talked about this on my story on Instagram today, just as a thought that was happening. As I've already kind of had a big disappointment coming into this year. I had for Friday, I was supposed to be playing a big show at like my dream venue. I think I've talked about this, Webster Hall in New York City, like 2,000 people. And I felt like it was like, all right, it's the start of me kind of getting back to just like being in sync with the things that I love doing, music being one of them. And unfortunately, it got canceled. The headliner whose show it is, he has some sort of health issue he's battling with that he can't make this show. So it got canceled for now, and it was incredibly disappointing. I got that news yesterday, and the old programming in me began to build up the evidence that I personally can't catch a break, that I have this black cloud flying over me. And we got really close to sort of me derailing and just going into like this deep, depressed, dark headspace, right? Because, and for some it might sound like it might just sound like, oh, who cares? It's like a one concert show. And yeah, to a degree it is, but it is something that it's something of this size. I can't undersell it. And if you're not in my particular industry, it might not seem like that big of a deal, but this is like the big leagues and you got called up, to go play like for the Yankees or something after being in the minors. And then all of a sudden that call up got canceled. Now it's like, oh fuck, now I'm back to playing in the minors before I even had a chance to show what I could do. Like these types of gigs are the domino effect where they set the tone for bigger and better bookings and growth and things like that, right? So there was a lot sort of that I had planned that was piggybacked off of this one gig. And now with it gone, it's like, fuck, we're starting at the ground level almost again, right? So it was easy for me to make it mean something personal about myself, about my luck, about the way that God is or isn't behind me right now, the way that the universe isn't isn't conspiring in my favor, right? And I allowed myself to kind of be in that rut for a little bit. I took like 2 fucking naps for no reason, right? And, you know, went through more junk food in my kitchen than I wanted to and ate cereal for dinner. Um, like did all the fucking heartbreak things basically. Um, but then I ironically, as I was like in bed to actually sleep, after I'd taken my multiple unnecessary naps, I got kind of struck with an idea, and I kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, I prayed, and I even like praying. I just kind of spoke to God, the universe. Again, the word is interchangeable for me, but and also kind of, I guess, speaking to myself, just having a conversation, and like through that conversation, finding peace and just sort of reiterating to myself that things will work out as they are supposed to. You always find a way. And maybe it's not the way you want it to be. Maybe it's not as fast or as big or whatever, but you always find a way to be able to fight another day. And that's a gift in itself, right? And that conversation with God reminded me of that. And then like, when I was going to sleep, like ideas of how to sort of bounce back from this setback and like figure out a way to reinsert myself into it began to come to me, right? Like I got energized and excited all over again. And that's what I mean by intention. Is I'm going to read you my words just so because I feel like I'm talking in circles without telling you like what my words are. My 4 words are this: resilience, persistence, faith, and legacy. And I think in that moment, that conversation I had with myself, with God, with the universe, I actually displayed those first 3 words. Resilience, to say that, you know what? This setback sucks. It's so fucking disappointing. But we're not going to, we're going to keep on pushing forward. Persistence, right? The idea of continuing to work. I made a plan. I woke up this morning, worked on something I needed to do for the plan, right? That's that persistence that even in the face of failure, it's, maybe I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to just take a day to myself, take the next part of the day off. But I woke up the next morning right back at it again. That's that persistence. And then the faith word. The faith that if it's not this, it will be something else in a good way. The faith that as long as I just keep getting back up, things will pan out and I'll end up where I'm supposed to be. And to me, that right there, as I reflect on it, I'm recognizing how big of a mindset shift that is and how much of a gift these words are. Because I don't know if a year ago, I know for a fact a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to bounce back so quickly or remain this positive this fast in the face of it all, right? Amidst the storm of disappointment. I had a lot of big disappointing moments last year that I feel like really created a lot of brain fog and disappointment and uncertainty that lasted for months at a time. And that's why these words are so important. That's why this intention is so important, because right then and there, these words allowed me to work through this problem. And yeah, the emotion is still there. The disappointment still exists, but it doesn't paralyze me. It doesn't freeze me in place because I understand the greater vision and the greater intention I have for this year. And those words provide me with a clear, quick plan of action in response to a disappointing moment. I'm going to be resilient. I'm going to keep persisting, and I'm going to have faith that everything is going to work out. That right there, that re-energizes you to get back up and fucking get right back to work, right? That's why it's so important and so powerful. And that last word, legacy, I just added. I was reflecting on the Bad Bunny album. This, just bear with me. This might sound like left field, but this Bad Bunny album literally brought me to tears the first listen for so many different reasons. The visuals that he put out, everything, and on the internet and looking on social media, I'm recognizing like how this is such a universal thing that's happening. I think so many people are feeling it, but specifically Puerto Ricans, I'm seeing, and we're like all having a very similar reaction. I think of feeling seen, of feeling united and energized collectively behind this. And I've had my own critiques of Bad Bunny. I've been a huge fan forever. I've always remained, even while still having healthy critiques, I think. But I recognize like what this man is creating and what he's igniting and what he stands for. And when you look back, especially now as sort of having this body of work of what he has meant to the people of Puerto Rico and the inspiration that he's had on this younger generation, my generation and even younger, I see it when I walk around the island. That legacy that he inevitably will leave behind when he's done making art, when he leaves this earth, it's stamped in there. And regardless of other critiques I've had and things of that nature, his art has truly spoken and inspired so many people, and his actions have, in a way that changed the course of our community and our culture for the better, I think. And it's this marrying of the thing that you love and you're passionate about and that you're gifted with. For him, it's music. But he's made it something so much bigger than just music, than just some reggaeton songs that we listen to in the club, than just being some celebrity. He's made it a means to unify and celebrate. I think, and in that celebration, unify his community and put us on a global stage and make us feel so powerful in being seen. And I think there's something so special to that in terms of like, I think for me, and I'll end it here because I'm gonna go off on another fucking tangent, but I think for me, I would always devalue what I do. And I would always say, oh, this isn't important. This means nothing. Even like specifically when it came to music, this love that I had for it, this burning thing that is just like inserted in me since I was a kid. And I walked away from it for a while because I was like, this isn't deep enough. This doesn't affect or help enough people. And yeah, as an industry, it's very superficial. But what I recognize in somebody like Bad Bunny, especially in this moment right now, your gift can be a vehicle for something far bigger than just the gift itself, if that makes sense. Yes, he's a musician. Yes, he's an incredibly talented one. Yes, he's got hits and he gets played in the club and on the radio and he's wins awards. But he used that as a vehicle to have deeper and more meaningful conversations, and as a result, created an impact that will last forever, essentially, that defines a generation, defines a culture of people, his people. And I recognize now that you can marry your passions and that whatever you do can be as deep and effective as you want it to be. And your art, your creativity, your passions, your vision can have impact. And you can add deeper meaning, even if everybody around you is just doing superficial bullshit. And you could still win. I think that's, to me, the greater arching thing as well. Is like we're seeing somebody not only win in the traditional superficial metrics of the entertainment industry, but winning as a human being that is enacting positive change and being a person of inspiration and influence in a positive way for the people and the community and the culture that he values. And that's legacy right there. That's choosing to go a level deeper. And that's what is another word I keep in mind, because I think my first go around with music, it was superficial. It was external validation. I loved music, right? And it was bigger than just wanting to be like famous or something like that. But I'd be lying if I said it wasn't about, proving people wrong and making myself feel good by being quote unquote somebody. And now it's like, I love it. It makes me feel good to be around it, to do it, to make it, to play it. But I also recognize it's a powerful vehicle for me to enact the type of change and inspiration that I want. Right? I'm using this as something that is a springboard for the sort of legacy that I hope to leave behind. And when I put in the hours in the studio and I'm busting my ass doing this and that, I recognize that it's bigger than just any notoriety that comes along with being a musician. I'm doing it with the intention of this also allows me to open doors to be the type of philanthropist and activist that I want to be for my people. And to have the types of conversations that I think are important and to speak on behalf of those who can't speak for themselves. So yeah, legacy. Yeah. Thank you all for listening and giving me that platform, the ability to do this, honestly. I feel like I'm like, realistic. Honestly, you should have. I think on the way to work every morning, we should all have a podcast by ourselves. Just talk to yourself. Like that's literally what I'm doing right now. It just feels less crazy because I know this is going to go out to people. Um, but but yeah, I feel like I just worked through so much right there. I feel fucking pounds lighter. But yeah, those are my words: resilience, persistence, faith, and legacy. That's my theme, my intention for 2025. Dude, and it's like the storytelling bit, but like, yo, you gotta watch the short film. He's telling the story of what's happening to Puerto Rico right now. Like it's oh my god, it's just a fucking he's telling you a story, but he's also like you're grinding. You know, it's like it's the most beautiful fucking thing ever because it's like you can listen to it and just fucking listen to it for energy and like music, and then you can sit there and get lost in the messaging behind it and like feel so deeply connected and just energized to do something. And that's like what he's so great at. He fucking found a way to pull it all together. Like it's the medicine with the candy. I'm gonna bring you in with perreo and like we're gonna listen to some reggaeton beats and you're gonna want to shake your ass and do all those things and while out. But in between all of that, I'm gonna hit you with this messaging that makes you recognize what's important in this life and makes you aware of a struggle that is happening to your people and how we all need to be more active in fighting back against it. And like, man, that's the fucking blueprint right there for great art and having a lasting legacy through your art. And we all have our own vision, our own passion, our own way of contributing to this world. For him, it's music. You know, for you, it might be podcasting, it might be writing, it might be poetry, but whatever it ends up being. But like to me, that is like a life that is fulfilled, a passion that is fulfilled, one that is um worthy of the gift that you've been given from God, the universe of this fire inside of you, is one where you're able to really marry all these different human emotions together and leave people not only entertained, but dig a bit deeper to leave them inspired. And yeah, that's fucking legacy right there. With that said, let's tie everything we talked about today a neat little bow in a segment we call Conclusion Stew.
Time for conclusion soon.
All right, so I'll keep this short because I feel like I just went super deep on everything. I feel like I just gave you a very practical example of why intention and then a goal is how we should be approaching the year. Again, it's like this, it's a tool. Right? That's what these words are, or that's what that sentence is. It's like you're putting together IKEA furniture, and in order to do so, in order to survive the hell that is assembling IKEA furniture, you have to utilize that little bag of fucking shitty tools that they give you. Right? It's a net. It's like it's what helps you get there, and that's what intention is. Intention is the little IKEA bag of shitty tools that comes in the box. All right. The goal is to put the shit together. The goal is to have a coffee table. But without that little bag of shitty tools, you're not going to be able to have the dream of sitting in front of a coffee table. Right? That's how you have to look at it. And I feel like that's what I gave you a real working example of me reacting and moving forward from that disappointing news that I got. Using those words that I set for myself as a toolkit to work through the emotions of that and come out on the other side on my path, on continuing on my journey towards that goal that I set out for myself. And this is like, listen, this is, I'm not even trying to like, I didn't invent this, so I'm not even gassing myself up. This is next level shit, right? This is the mindset that the world's most successful people have. This is when you want the secret sauce, the get rich quick scheme, whatever the fuck it is. It's these types of mindsets that are the overarching key factor to why people found success and why others fell short. To why some people are miserable in their life and others are far more happy and fulfilled. It's little things like this, seemingly little things like this, right? Again, that IKEA tool set on its own is very laughable. That little skinny ass, like aluminum foil looking wrench that they fucking give you, right? Laughable on its own. But in context of assembling a shitty coffee table, it's essential. And I don't know why IKEA is on my brain right now, but it is. I think that's a great analogy, personally. That I will gas myself up about. I think that's a great analogy. Anyway, intentions. So if you haven't done that yet, there's one thing you listen to me this year. Take some time and just figure out a couple words, a sentence, something like this is your compass, right? If I want to be dramatic and talk more in terms of like fucking self-help gurus, this is your compass that guides you back. This is your North Star. This is the bumper rails on a bowling lane, right? Just nudges you back to where you're trying to get to. And if you're a small child or just a horrendous bowler, those rails are essential for you not having a miserable day at the bowling alley. And that's what these words of intention are, or these sentences. It's that. So with that said, thank y'all so much. Happy first week of 2025. We'll be back on Thursday, of course, with our Thursday Trends episode. You better believe I'm probably going to be analyzing the Bad Bunny album. I might do a whole episode on that. We'll talk. We'll think about it. We'll think on it. But anyway, Thursday Trends, we shall be back Thursday, obviously. Until then, set your intentions for the year. It's great to be back. Great to talk to you. I love and miss you all. I love you, and I missed you all. Thank you so much for, not forgetting about me over the last couple weeks. Happy 2025. And we'll talk soon. Till then, stay safe. Peace.